Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Kelvin Wilson of We Do Movies, and I'm going to do a review of the two Dave Chappelle stand-up specials, Equanimity and The Bird Revelation. If you guys want to check these stand-up specials out, they are, of course, on Netflix, along with the first two he dropped, which was the Age of Spin and Deep in the Heart of Texas. Now, those two, when they first came out, were very funny, although a lot of people said that it was kind of outdated, especially with the stuff that he was talking about. And yes, the stuff he was talking about was rather old because he talked about Bill Cosby's rape allegations, and I think that was so far beyond where we were at that time when those specials came out. But just to hear what he had to say just made it all worthwhile. I didn't care how old the material was. Dave Chappelle is just one of, if not the best comedian on the face of the planet. And then now we have Equanimity, and we have The Bird Revelation, two stellar performances. One is more, I would say, well, both of them are very stand-up related. I think one is probably more stand-up than others. The Bird Revelation seems more, it has some jokes, but he's just kind of talking and giving information. He's giving information about the Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K., Kevin Spacey incidents that happened. He's also talking about his time in Hollywood, why he went to Africa. And I know majority of the time he's mentioned Africa, but he's never really talked about why he went to Africa. And he doesn't come out and say why he went to Africa, but he does give you these very various stories that he puts into his stand-up. I think Dave Chappelle, like I said, the funniest man on the planet. I think he is our modern-day Pryor. I know a lot of people may or may not agree with me on that, but I feel like Pryor was ahead of his time, and Chappelle, I think, is ahead of his time, but I think only people like Chappelle, I think there are true fans of Chappelle who have been with him since the stand-up days, and then there are the fans that have leached on to him because of the success of Chappelle's Show Season 1 and 2. And then especially when those DVDs came out, you know, everybody was buying them. I still think to this day it's probably the number one selling television DVD of all time. Equanimity and The Bird Revelation I find to be not only funny, but just what he speaks about and giving his point of view about certain topics. I know, like, the last two specials, there were these issues with the transgender community not liking some of the jokes. And now the same community is not liking the jokes that he said in these two specials. And it makes me wonder if people are really listening to what he's saying, or are they just hearing bit pieces of the joke and they're just reacting where he's not, where they're not like actually listening to fully what he's really saying, you know. And he's saying some really interesting and deep stuff, like when he was talking about the transgender community and how, you know, now don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people of different races that are transgender, but it seems to be more prevalent because there's a lot of white men coming out as transgender wanting to be women. And I think if this was black people or Mexican people or Asian people doing the same thing, there would not be as much hoopla over it. And I think he Chappelle tells these stories in a way where, yes, they're brutal, but they're brutally honest, and yet he makes it funny. And I think that Chappelle is, like I said, I think Chappelle is way ahead of his time, especially in the current state of comedy that we're in now, where everybody is very sensitive to what comedians have to say. And I was watching this show, and they were saying, comedians have the right to say what they want to say on stage, but we also have the right to critique what they say. If a comedian's job is to critique the world and the way that they see it, why would you critique what they feel or how they see the world? That makes no sense to me. That's like me saying, you know what, I believe in God, but then you saying, well, I don't believe in God, and this is why I'll refute you on God. Like, how about you have your beliefs and I have my beliefs? Everybody doesn't have to have the same beliefs. But the one common belief that we can all have, as Chappelle kept saying, is that we all need to be together and to be on one accord. I love this specials. I hope he does more, but if he doesn't, I'm glad that he did those. And if you've seen those comedy specials, tell us what you thought. You can hit us up on Facebook at We Do Movies. Check out all our reviews on Facebook, the We Do Movies page, as well as YouTube. And until then, we will see you next time. Peace.